I'm back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from Side Project Brewing, and they're out of St. Louis, Missouri, and this is their CWH Parfait, and this is batch number 2. So this is a blend of barrel-aged Imperial Stout and Imperial Stout with espresso, vanilla beans, and orange peel. It comes in at 12% alcohol by volume, no IBUs listed, and time of review. And this can is just under 6.5 months old, and I picked this one up at Halftime Beverage via halftimebeverage.com. So in the description box, I'll post a link to the beer mail unboxing video I did that contains all the goodies that I grabbed, and I picked up 31 beers in total, and this is the only Side Project beer that I picked up. They had a couple others, including their horchata, but they were quite expensive, and I already had a bunch of beers in my cart, so I was just like, I'm going to pick up something that I'm somewhat familiar with, because the only other beer I've had from Side Project Brewing I reviewed last year was sent to me by a very good friend of mine and viewer of the channel, Curtis. It was their Parfait Blend 6, I think it was. It was like very similar to this, where it was a blend of a barrel-aged beer and an Imperial Stout. And it was like more or less an Imperial Neapolitan pastry stout that was barrel-aged. And it was delicious. I gave it a 5 out of 5. A lot of people said that, you know, the canned beers from Side Project pale in comparison to like their bottled, beers like Beer Barrel Time series and things of that nature. And I truly do believe them, but that was fantastic. That hit on everything I wanted out of that beer. So when I saw this one, I was like, all right. So what they're trying to go for here is an Espresso Martini stout. And they say on Instagram, on Untapped, I do also think they posted on Instagram, but it says, for this second parfait blend for Chris, and I believe Chris is a friend of the brewery that works at a local winery. He says, it says, we harness the flavors of the popular Espresso Martini and put our little twist on it. With the winter cocktail in mind, we used our Vibes Stout recipe and a blend of our barrel-aged Vibes Stout and barrel-aged O.W.K recipes, which had rested for 1 year in Willett Bourbon barrels. The final blend was then finished on Italian Roast Espresso, Madagascar vanilla beans, and orange peel. So I've had a couple martinis in my life, never had an espresso martini. I have no idea what to expect here. I hope it's delicious. We will find out. This is out of my darker beer fridge, which I keep at 54 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm hoping that this is just as delicious as that other parfait. We'll see. I don't know. I feel like the orange peel for my... Oh, Jesus Christ, I'm spilling some of it. You guys know I don't know how to pour beer, but in this case, I really don't. So always bring the paper towels with me. Just a little bit of a spillage, not much. Is it even touch? Oh, it didn't even touch the ground here. But this pouring out was really, really thick. Wow, that was crazy thick. And even on this paper towel, super thick. Yeah, wild. Anyway, how does this look? It looks like fucking motor oil in the glass when I was pouring it out. And if you look at it in the glass, that is perfection, boys and girls. That is pitch black. Has about a finger of a super dark brown, creamy looking head. Looks luscious, looks vibrant. Let me do a little bit of swirl, see if we can get some legs going on the sides here. Yeah, you can probably see the legs. If I go a little bit further, you can see them just kind of glistening on the sides there. Sheets more than legs. Beautiful, beautiful beer in the glass. All right, what do we have for a nose? Thick, rich, fudgy chocolate. Oh, dude, this smells like the best mocha character you could ever ask for. So coffee, chocolate with like a Scotia vanilla on top. Deeply roasted malt, like very almost cherry malt. So a little bit of like a woodsy kind of feel, probably from the oak. I'm getting nondescript like dark fruits. I don't want to say like, I almost want to say like cherry cordial or something like that, but more like I'd say like a chocolate covered espresso bean in the nose. It smells like it's going to be quite sweet and like rich, decadent, luscious. I'm not picking up on the orange peel, which I think is good. The only time I ever like orange peel and dark beers for me is when you got chocolate, because I'm a chocolate or orange chocolate fiend or chocolate orange. I love that combination. This has the chocolate from the base malt, but I don't know how well it would pair with like a mocha character with vanilla and everything. Maybe I'll like it. I don't know. This just smells intense. There's a little bit of a booziness as well. Yeah, this smells awesome. Side Project does awesome stuff with, their big beers like this. So it's always a treat to try them. And by I say always, this is the second time I've ever had anything. But yeah, I'm curious to see how this one is. So let's get into it. Cheers, everyone. I have thoughts. A lot of thoughts. Mostly good, little bad. Go back in. Body on this is full. It's thick, it's syrupy, it's viscous. There's such a, like it coats the palate, like from front to back, just coats. The body's fantastic. Like if you're gonna drink a 12% barrel age or blended barrel age Imperial Stout with adjuncts and whatnot, that's kind of that's the body I'm looking for. Like I want this to be a sipper. It's a treat every time you take a sip, almost like a milkshake. Not that thick, but you know what I mean. And I think the body's spectacular. The mouthfeel, it seems a little bit undercarb for me. Yeah, it's like mild to moderately carbonated. I guess it's all right carbonation-wise. It does have a nice smoothness. There's a creaminess on the palate. So I'd say the mouthfeel is really good. The body's fantastic. The taste. Here's one, I guess, negative I've had with this beer is that for everything going on in this beer, and keep in mind, this is just under 6.5 months old, so this is not super fresh, but it's been in my fridge since I bought it from Halftime Beverage, which was a couple months back. It lacks the complexity I'm looking. Someone playing, somebody's at the corner, like has their, it's raining out, and somebody's at the corner with their radio up real loud. I don't know if I'm hearing it through the window they have rolled down in the rain, or they're just that loud. I don't know. I was like, what the hell's going on? Anyway, the for something this big, and this just like all the ingredients, what they're doing, the blend and everything, the vibrancy and intensity to the flavors on the palate are a little bit more subdued than I was hoping. That said, it's fucking delicious. Front to back, tons of rich fudgy chocolate just coming from the base stout, which is impressive. But then there's layers of coffee, espresso. It has more of a biting, intense coffee note front to back. Like I said, chocolate-covered espresso beans I think would make sense as far as how I'm describing this. Midway through the palate, I get vanilla, both from the vanilla beans, but then it intertwines what I think is the vanilla from the barrels. And then it peters out into this really dry, like firmly dry oak tannin vibe. So the dryness is not just your generic like alcohol dryness or dryness from whatever the case may be in a beer. It actually has like an oak tannin dryness on the finish. It also has like a mild to moderate bitterness, more approaching moderate. It's almost like you took a popsicle stick and like put it on your tongue. Kind of has that like drying kind of like, woodsy kind of feel to it. I am getting a very small, minute kind of like citrus character, which I think is the orange peel. It's really not there all that much, but it's like almost like an orange pith or rind. You could say peel. It's not really sweet. It's more like bittering. There's a little bit of like a black cherry, something in that realm too. I wouldn't necessarily say chocolate covered cherries in this realm, but really nice. 12%, big warm in my chest. A little bit of booze on the palate, but big warm in my chest. I'm not getting any specific spirit with this one. I would tell you it's probably oak aged. I don't know if I'd tell you if it was barrel aged as far as like an actual spirit in the barrel. It's almost like, just if you oak aged it and the oak was like fresh oak or something, it kind of has more of an oaky presence than an actual spirit. This is a sipper beer through and through. It's really nice. But calling a spade, that Parfait from last year I had was immensely better. It was way better. It kind of hit the nail on the head. I guess for me, though, in this situation, I never had an Espresso Martini. So if I had one before and I had something to compare it to, I could say, okay, they nailed it. They probably did nail it. I just couldn't tell you they nailed it. For me, I'm just, reviewing it, and I'm going to score it based on what this beer is to my palate as far as how much I enjoy it. And I think this is a fucking-tastic beer that has some faults that I got a docket for. So this is great. Body's fantastic. Mouth feels good. I love the rich chocolate vibes and the rich roasty, almost char vibes from the base malt. I love that the coffee is here, the vanilla is here, the oak is here. What I don't love is the fact that the orange peel is not really coming through. Maybe that's not a disappointing thing. I'm really not getting any spirit whatsoever. And the intensity of the flavors of this is a little bit more muted than I was hoping for something that's 12%. One more sip and we'll lock in a rating. Yeah, this is fun. I'm going to drink the rest of this as the night goes on. But I'm putting it this way, I'm not disappointed I picked it up. It was pricey. I don't know if it's worth what I paid for it, but CWH Parfait, batch number 2 from Side Project. I'm going to go low 4.5. I'll go 4.45. I think if the intensity of flavors were a little bit more noticeable and I got more of the spirit and maybe even the orange peel, this would probably be like a high 4.5 until low 4.75. Still doesn't touch the other parfait I had. Just being honest with you. But this is still a really nice beer, without question. Price point availability, here's where it goes a bit sideways, right? Halftime beverage, already a little bit pricey, especially if you buy online. As far as I know, if you heard from a couple people, like if you go to the store, like in-store in Mamaroneck and forget the other location, Poughkeepsie, if you go to both of those locations, I think they're like normal price that you would see at a beer store in New York, but online it's a little bit more expensive. I paid $17.69 USD for that can. So we're talking over $1 an ounce. Would I pay that again? I would not. I probably wouldn't pay more than 12 to 14 bucks for this can. That's under $1 an ounce. That's kind of where it sits. But who knows? At the end of the day, you can't get Side Project in New York State as far as I know. And the fact that Halftime had them, I had to grab it. So I'm not upset that I paid almost $18 for that can. But also, I probably would never buy it for that price. But I don't know any other way to get Side Project, so here we are. Availability at Side Project, like I said, here in New York State, the only thing I know is we don't get them. Outside of Halftime Beverage, I've never seen them available online. Maybe they get in Tavour. As far as I know, you used to have to either go to the brewery, trade from them on the secondary, buy them on the secondary, especially when you're talking like the bottles of beers from them. Outside of Halftime Beverage, I've never seen them like commercially available outside of the brewery, so I have no idea. So if you did get your hands on this one, whether it was buying it from Halftime or buying it from the brewery or whatever, getting a trade, post in the comment section. What did you think about this one? I never had CWH Parfait the first batch, so I can't compare it to that, but I can compare it to the regular Parfait blend number 6 I had, which was superior to this, but this is still really good. I'm picking this apart because that's what a review is, and there are some faults to this one for my own palate, but I gave it a 4.45 out of 5. It's a delicious beer. It's just pricey, and I just wish it was a little bit more complex and like intense to the flavors. It's almost subdued, which is crazy to say for a 12% beer with everything going on. It's just like a little bit, just, I don't want to say flat because that means a lot of things, but it's just like it falls a little flat, right? It just does, but it's still a really good beer. So appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. And until the next one, I said, wait, 12%, warming in my chest, a little booze on the palate. It is a little boozy for 12%, it is. But, nowadays if I drink a 12+% beer of any sort and I get booze, whatever, it's fucking 12+%. You should probably get something. Anyway, I'm shutting this one out. Appreciate it. To the next one. Cheers.